Hello everybody, this is Michael, KE4EST, and here we are back with the Eico 488 electronic switch. I didn't mean for this really to be a two-part video series or whatever you want to call it, but shooting part one, or shooting the first part of it and getting through it and doing editing and going through it a lot of time it's starting to get pretty long, so I decided just to end it where it was at on the last time we seen the video and pick it up back right here. So you can see what I've got here so far now, what I've done. I decided to leave this out right here. It's kind of hard to tell on camera, the depth there, but you can see there's pretty good gap between this line cord coming in and the chassis and these components here. So I just left that like it was. Usually you want to take these and tuck them in next to the chassis and put them all, as best you can, but they didn't leave me really enough room without adding another piece of wire on this, and so I could have done something a little different there maybe, but I decided just to leave it there like that. Okay, and you see, I think I already showed you these here. I have replaced the resistor here. You can see I've put the little sleeves over the leads there, the one that I've done. This one back here, these two here, are the same thing coming off of this tube, one half and the other half. And this one's still pretty close, supposed to be 3.3 meg. This one here, I can't remember exactly, but has 3.34 or something like that. This one, I've got it, yeah, here, it's way in here. That one there, the one I took out, that one read 4.5. And I even checked it on a couple different meters to make sure that is my meter going crazy, or am I touching something, or especially when you get up, in these high meg ohms, you gotta be real careful not to, get your hands, touch it with your hands or whatever, measuring something, because it'll pick up the resistance in your body. And double checked it 2 or 3 times, and yeah, it was off. So, not as common, for these Allen Bradley style to go out, but I've replaced this here, and you can see it's a little bit different one here. This one's a 20%, this one's 10%. What else have I got done here? Let's see, I've replaced this 47K here that I was talking about before. That's been replaced. You can kind of hiding up under there, ain't it? You can see that. Let me bring you in a little bit more here. Get it where it's not so much in the dark there. Place that, and here's these 82K resistors that were in there that were all over the place. Reading closer to, one was 99K, one was reading 100 and something K. Another one's kind of tucked in back here, but it's in there. And then here, this way you can see there's this can up here had 4 capacitors in it, so 2 of them is back here and 2 of them's here. And the resistor was fine. I actually held on to it. But this, or I will hold on to it. I still got a pile of parts over here in the box, but this resistor was fine. But when I was showing you how I had moved things around here, it was just too short. I didn't want to add a wire or whatever, so I just replaced it with another 47K, and I had the same thing in the old stock Allen Bradley, so I put that in there. What else? It seems like, well, I guess that was it. Everything else checked out good on the resistors. They checked right on it real close in spec. there's always that one resistor checks like it's a 0.1% tolerance resistor or something. They always ride on. I can't remember which one it was, but one of these was in here was almost dead on what it's supposed to be. So, which is interesting. But anyhow, so it's all done. I don't know if I mentioned it at the end of part 1 there, but I've cleaned all the VRs. I've cleaned them really good and all that, so everything's ready now, so we can fire this thing up and have a look at it. Now, the only thing I'll tell you ahead of time is I don't have an old scope set up. I've got some I want to try to restore and whatever, but I don't have one right now. I've got an older scope, but it's still too fast. It's still not old enough. It's a 90 something model. And then of course back here I've got the newer, what did it come out last year or something like that, or a couple years ago, the Siglant. So I'm not gonna be able to show it to you like I want to show you. You know how it would be perfect 2 straight lines if I'll show you here in just a minute, but you'll see little spikes in it. But all that's done. I did already go ahead and do a preliminary fire up, and I went through and was trying to clear up some of the spikes. I went through and these 2 capacitors here actually had tacked in some different sizes, trying different things out here to see if I could. And I cleared it up a little bit, but it wasn't really that much of a change. And I'll show you in a minute on the scope, and we'll see what I'm talking about. But so I just went back with these. These are 0.1s that was just like what was in there. So I think we're ready to fire it up and show you. So what I'm going to do, also what I've done, clean the face up real good. You can see it's all nice and shiny now. And took all the knobs and everything off and cleaned everything up good. Took these knobs actually and dropped them in an ultrasonic cleaner because they was really grungy and stuff. And boy, that just, you ever seen it just coming out of the stuff off of that thing. I fired it up, looking down in there, it was really crazy, the dirt and debris and stuff coming off. But well, they come out really nice and shiny. But whatever they used to paint these, it came off. So it was nice. I had 5 nice black knobs, all black. So what I've done is, if you ever run across there, if you got one that's wore off, or if you're cleaning it and it comes off or whatever, what I done was took this right here, just big white out, and I took the brush, went over it, and of course you're going to get some around, on the, you'll get some all around here, on the outside of the, you want it down that little groove, but it'll be all around here. But you can try to be real careful, but you want to get it daubed down in there really good. And then you can try to wipe it off immediately when you get ready to clean it up or whatever. But it kind of, I've found out it's better just to, even though if you got, like, if you, for lack of better words, overspray, just let it dry for about an hour really good. And then you can go over it and scratch it off like a fingernail. Take your fingernail and scratch off most of it, and what's left, you can just take your cleaning cloth and your, some kind of a light, spray, nothing that's too crazy, soap or something. Spray on a little rag and just rub. Put some pressure on it. Of course, not when it's on the unit, but you got it sitting down there, you're rubbing on it. You'll just rub that off and just leave what's in the groove, as long as it's not something too abrasive or anything like, your cleaning rag or whatever. And that worked out real good on these here. I hadn't done that in a while, but that worked out real good. So anyway, so let's fire this thing up. And what I'm going to do is take my signal generator. I'm going to feed a signal into the input. Now again, I want to remind everybody that this here's got 300 some volts on this when it's running on this output. So you gotta be careful what you plug it into. And I tried 2 different scopes, the older scope and the new scope, and about the same. I've got another one that's a little older too that I was going to try it on. See, a lot of these scopes, newer modern day scopes, are just too fast for this thing, and it don't really show you what it's really supposed to do back in the day. But just reminds you again that this has got that 300 some volts on it. And like I've got another scope that works, but I didn't even try it because I was looking at it. It's a little portable scope, and it says 300 volts max on the input. So I said, nope, won't try that one. So we'll go ahead and go with this one. So I'm going to hook it up, get everything set up, and we'll look at the scope here. And I'll feed a signal into this thing. I'll go ahead and turn the amplitude down both of them. I'll feed the same signal into both. I'll just run a jumper from here to here, you know, like an alligator clip or something. And we'll look at it. I've got her set up here and running, warmed up a little bit. So here's your, with no inputs, nothing on the input, it should have a square wave, you know, coming out. It's oscillator we talked about in the schematic. So here it is, and we can stretch it out here. See if I can. You see how that's curved like that? I experimented with changing those capacitors out and actually changed that a little bit to try to get it a little bit flatter. So it was like, but you know, this was a cheap kit. There's not a whole lot to the circuit. It could be cleaned up, could be done better. And I'm sure it looks a little bit different on a older scope, but it's probably still going to have a little bit of that slope to it. I'm turning the frequency control on the front now. And you see I can get this a little more square. Now this is in the position we've got 10 to 100, 50 to 400, and then this is 250 to 2000. I'm feeding a 1000 hertz tone, or getting ready to. 1000 hertz signal, or 1 kilohertz signal. We can, here's your balance control in the middle, or it's the position control. So you can see you got one across there, and then here's the other one. And then if we bring it, we can flip it back and forth. And we can kind of line them up to it's almost one line there. And then if I turn up one side here, you can see that sine wave coming in at the bottom there. And like I said, it's not going to be pretty. You can kind of adjust frequency control a little bit. This is frequency control in front of the 488. Slow the scope down a little more, try to find that sweet spot. Let's see what else we can do here. Okay. Let's go to AC line. All right. Now, AC coupling. Okay, now we go back to frequency control, and so I can spread it out. Now let me go ahead and bring the other one in. You should start seeing it come on the top. You see there's two, and I can put them in. I can flip them back and forth here. Okay, let me change this. You get close. Let's see. Let's. There's a 500 hertz signal going into it. Okay. See there, you can see where it's trying to flip back and forth there. If I turn one off, turn it on, so you can see the two waves, but it's still all broken up. I don't know if that's going to help anything. No, let's go on down. There's a 100 hertz tone. Or 100 hertz signal. I mean, you can see the two waveforms. I'll stop it there. You can see what it's supposed to look like. Okay, kind of what it's supposed to look like. You know, it's supposed to have a waveform here and waveform here. So it's just not, but it ain't really designed, you know, for one of these modern scopes. I've got an analog scope, but it's still, like I said, this one's all digital. It's actually got a CRT in it. But it's still a 90-something model, and it's not much better. I done tried that, so. But you can see what it's supposed to do there. So that's it pretty much. Went through and restored it and got it going. I'll revisit this one day when I have a older scope, you know, like a scope from the 40s or 50s or something like that. You know, one of the scopes that don't even have, you know, they have binding posts on the front. They won't have a BNC jack or nothing like that. They're only good for, you know, maybe 5 megahertz. But a lot of them, you know, a lot of them goes up to 500 kilohertz or megahertz maybe. And the way they're set up and designed, you'll be able to really see better what this is supposed to do and what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to operate. But you can see with this, you know, this is good enough for you to get an idea. Just imagine these lines, see all these thousands of little, and hundreds of little lines here. The scope's just too fast for it. Even slowing it down as much as I can, it's just, you know, just too fast for it. So it's going to pick up all this trash here, and it's going to show everything, which is good for your modern age, you know, digital stuff and whatever. You're trying to really see one little spike in something or whatever, it's great. But for this old stuff, you know, this is like way beyond its time. So anyway, I'll shut this thing down here. We'll have a look at the unit again. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this video, or these last couple videos on this Eico 488. Show you kind of what an electronic switch does. So it takes in, you know, it's got the two inputs. So if you got an old, you know, older scopes back then, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, only had the one input. Well, let's see, somewhere in the 60s, some of the higher end ones started having the BNC jacks. Then you start having the 2-channel scopes and whatever. But if you want to look at two signals at the same time on a single input scope, this is what you wanted to get. But they had a lot better ones of these. They had, you know, factory made ones that was a lot more filtering in them. Had a few more features and design a little bit different than this. And then I've seen some researching online, just looking at some of the different ones, because Heathkit came out with one. It was 2 or 3 other places, you know, I seen it had, you know, the lower end ones back then, and some of them almost followed the exact same schematic. It looks like they just copied each other. except for the tube complement might be a little bit different, but I mean, it was still the same thing. You know, it's like putting in a 2N2222 transistor or a 2N3904. In some circuits, it ain't gonna really matter. You know, and there's some circuits that be, you know, you definitely want to make sure you're different, but it's the same thing. I read where one guy changed out, he rewired and did a little bit different tube complement itself to make it work a little better with these newer scopes. But even he, I was reading on a forum post, even he was like, he just done it because, you know, he was retired and just pilling around, and just, he even said that in his forum post that, I don't even know really why I did it anyway. It's just, I'm going to just stick it up on the shelf because I've got a scope that's got 4 channels and it's, you know, blah, 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 whatever. But just mainly just to do it. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this, seeing this get restored. And yeah, when I plugged it up and turned it on, I can smell this transformer again, but it didn't really get hot or anything, just barely warm. But this will be a shelf clean mostly. But I would like to bring this back out and mess with it again when I get an older scope restored and get it going or whatever. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, reach down and hit that like button. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. If you have already subscribed, thank you for subscribing and watching the stuff. And if you have any comments on anything, feel free to throw them in the comments down below the video here and tell me what you like or don't like or want to see different or whatever. And until the next video, this is Michael, KE4EST 73.